What up, Cobalt? Oh, nice. Painting Warhammering or playing Warhammering? Oh, building a Boondocka Snazwagon? Oh, music for Twitch people, activate. Well, let's get to it. Hopefully OBS doesn't crash. Because it was freaking out a little bit. It was trying to update some stuff. And every time I clicked update, it was like, no. And it would just stop for no reason. So we're just kind of winging it. But we have a bunch to do. Probably won't get done all of it today. I was looking through my endless spells for AOS, and I know I don't really play a lot of AOS locally, but I would like to update my AOS models. And then we'll be able to cut in on my raptors. In particular, I do want to get my Disciples of Tzeentch ones done. Like, I like them, but when you compare kind of where they were when I first made them, which was forever ago, and then, like, the brightness of the new ones, it's a little annoying. People out there holiday planning? Got anything cool lined up? Nah. I mean, I got Christmas to deal with, and then I'm heading over to my buddies for a week. Our year-end week-long hangout. Where I'm probably going to play more Warhammer than I'll ever want to play. I'm going to play so much Warhammer that I'll be ready to play a GT. Probably going to play at their house. I'm going to play at the store that's nearby. It's going to be a blowout, man. Alright, let's get this green brightened, and then we'll probably dry brush chartreuse onto it. What's up? Go for it. I'm noticing all the content creators They're all starting to hyper focus on speculating for 11th. We're doing it, boys. Like, I feel like all the codexes aren't even out yet, right? And we're just like, hey man, 11th. Actually, what codexes are we missing? Wait, do we have them all? Have a great paint job. Okay, go for it. I'm trying to think of which ones we're missing. Oh, are we not? We're not missing any, are we? We got all the chaosy ones. Votan's in. Aldari. Who are we missing? We're missing the sub factions for Space Marine. That's right, because those were on the roadmap. It was going to be like Salamanders. I think one other, right? I imagine shortly after that is when news of 11th will drop, because that's always kind of how it is. They're always like, here's the final codexes that you guys didn't expect to get, and everyone's kind of like, cool, and then they're just like, all right, you guys have 2 months to enjoy those rules. No. Meanwhile, AOS out here. I still don't even have my Disciples of Tzeentch codex. Assuming I'm never gonna get it. Old World getting more love than AOS. At least it feels that way. Still alive, right? Pretty sure still alive. Yeah, bitrate's still going. I kind of hate that YouTube got rid of like all the elements that you can see on screen. That's like, yeah, you're still going. Like, I don't want to just leave it running. I don't want to just press play and have it going on my side monitor. I'd rather just see a little bar graph that's like, yo, yeah, you still got bitrate. Like, the concept of in-shitification is very real. Removing features and acting like the removal of it is a feature in of itself. I wonder what they're gonna do in 11th, though. It's kind of the oddity of this, I guess, content creator news cycle. Which one of the ones talking about, you know, what they hope for out of 11th actually have real information and are just kind of hinting at it? To kind of get, like, people pre-hyped. I think I saw someone post up that they're hoping they change characters and stuff. I do hope with the exploration of attaching leaders to squads, they maybe take a slightly different approach to it, or get a little bit more, I guess, interesting with it. Because I feel like a lot of the leader types, at least that I've seen or I have access to, they kind of all feel like nothing, right? Like they're just like, oh, do you want sustained? There you go. This is how you get sustained. And there's just not a lot extra to it, or like not a lot of alternative concepts to them. But at the same time, I think we should probably recognize the idea that Games Workshop is going to try to keep 40K approachable. because that's been a huge advantage for them this last edition. So I don't know how in-depth it'll go. I know people were like kind of ranting and raving about Horus Heresy, but at the same time there were a lot of people who were a little annoyed at it with the whole like, oh, you have to take this unit to get access to this type of detachment rules and formula and stuff and blah blah blah. And it's like the multi-layering and facets of how to just build anything in Horus Heresy is on an extreme level, which, I mean, that's the game. They really did make Horus Heresy for all the people who really wanted 40k to be like it was in 3rd edition. I think they must have done a poll somewhere and found out that the bulk of the people complaining that they don't like the new rules all played Space Marine armies. Ideal for the Horus Heresy concept. Man, Sunday hella dead. If they maintain accessibility, honestly, the 40k update. What's up, Francois? The 40k update between 10th and 11th will probably feel more like 2nd and 3rd for Kill Team. Hopefully they do clarify some things. I've been hearing a lot of like the debates and arguments out of tournaments where it's people are starting to believe that if you have multiple like ploys you can do to yourself for like defensive and offensive purposes, it's kind of believed that you're only supposed to be allowed to do one of them. Because it's like, oh, well, that time has passed. The moment when you're supposed to do it is over before you can spend on the other kind of situation. It's an interesting idea, interesting concept. Probably wrong, but who knows? Oh, you gotta... So you have a light bulb back there that you're gonna fully paint. You're gonna try to do the paint technique that makes it look like a jar filled with stuff. That's always fun. And by fun, I mean that's always annoying. Because you either do the dark glass method, where the parts that don't have anything in it are just like black, or you do the light glass method where it's all just like a light gray, light to dark gray. You have to like fog it up basically. And then you kind of just draw a line around it to paint the goo line. Go from there. I still don't think it looks good. Like I've done it on a few things, and I still just don't like it. Like if I could choose, if I could seriously choose, if I had all the time and resources in the world, anytime I ever have to paint a jar, I would just 3D print the exact same size shape as the jar with a transparent thing, and I would actually put goo in it. Like, if you could fill that light bulb with, like, ferro fluid and a magnet that, like, somehow oscillates, it'd be cool as hell. Or the alternative is you just kind of paint it shittily. I guess whenever you're done painting it, hit it with, like, Ard coat or something to try to make the exterior just look shiny. Or some form of gloss medium coating. Yellow Titan. I mean, the contrast for yellow is blue, but if you're using blue somewhere else, then yeah, you gotta just pick a different thing. Pink might work. Pink's far enough away from green that it won't feel too connected. I'm gonna have to figure out how to pack my car to head over to my friend's place, because I gotta take my computer with me. I gotta edit and stuff while I'm over there. Unless John hits me with a, hey, don't have to edit until after New Year's or whatever, then I won't have to care. Yeah, pink would be good. Pink is enough. Because is that tertiary on the color wheel? What's the tertiary? Ugh, color wheel. Yellow, blue. Yeah, red or pink. Somewhere in there. Yeah, I have it over here. That was kind of a hard box to find for a little while there. I got lucky. One of the people at the store who goes to like a bunch of places further up north than where I'm kind of willing to go said he went to a store that mostly, or they went to a store that mostly sells Gundam parts. So I got all the basics. The only other standard spell cast, like non-faction specific spell, is the one that has the bridges and the boatman. The store near me has 2 boxes of those. I have no plans on buying them. Because to my understanding, it still exists that the Purple Son of Shyish and the Grave and all that, those are still like the best you can get for just universal use. I kind of wish that endless spells were changeable during tournaments. That was something I remember looking into, and you're supposed to select them when you make your list, which means you're kind of locked in. But it would be so much cooler to be able to be like, oh, you're playing this? I'm definitely going Disciples of Tzeentch spells this time around. My Simulacrum will actually threaten your casters. Whereas if I go Disciples of Tzeentch ones like these, and then I go up against a person that has no casters, I've absolutely wasted my time on average, because I don't really have a build that involves the book or the mark. The mark can be good, though. The mark used to suck, and then they fixed it pretty quickly. They were like, maybe we don't do negative effects to your own allies. Maybe we undo that on the only freaking spell that existed in the entire game that could kill your allies. Maybe we take it a different route. There's some good ones. Depending on what gun you put on, like, one of your bigger weapons, especially on, like, your Aldari Titan, you could always do something like this coming out of the front of it. Like it's charging up or something. I do like the spells, though. They interest me. It's kind of different enough that it actually made AOS interesting. Despite no one else local being all that interested in AOS. I think the most interest we have in AOS is specifically Spearhead. Like, a lot of the people near here treat AOS as kind of a skirmish game more than an actual game. And Spearhead is so far away from, like, the actual game. There's maybe 2 other people local to me who actually play AOS. And I've played them both. And I've had close games against one of them. I think the other one beat me pretty readily. Because he plays the Corn army. The one that's like, are you a caster? This is gonna be bad for you. And I'm like, damn it. I don't want to custom build my list for you. So I guess this will just be bad for me. The Ice Wall is interesting, but Ice Wall could be for like random stuff. I do like Ice Wall. Technically, it's a wall of light. It's not supposed to be ice. But I mean, it looks like ice, so who cares? In particular, though, because it's a wall of light, the rule is sort of like you can't draw to shoot over it because you're just blinded. You just can't see. So it's a really cool zoning, like a zoning spell. It sounds like they changed how terrain works, too. I'd have to look into it again, but it almost seems like they're trying to make cover more of a thing, whereas before it wasn't. Or specifically the inability to, like, shoot enemies or something. Like, it was weird. I gotta recheck the rules. Although, like, no one really plays, so I feel like I'm putting so much effort into, like, figuring out the rules synopsis for a game that just I'm probably not gonna play. And not necessarily at any fault of its own. It's just how the cards fell locally. There's a store an hour and a half north that had like a really good AOS community. But I don't want to drive an hour and a half north for a scrim game. And then drive an hour and a half back in the same day. These are not the games we play. I still want my endless spells to look good, though. It's not a bad game, though, is the problem. The few games I've played of it, it does feel really good. I actually prefer how Melee feels in AOS. In particular, because it's kind of like a positional scuffle. It's more fluid. It's kind of down to like where you are, who you're in contact with, how do you send someone else in to try to prevent an enemy squad from readjusting and getting control of an objective, like that kind of stuff. There's a lot more in the Melee scuff that feels really good and interesting that I think 40K just lacks. Like the main 40K interaction. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly, well, I mean, you say that, but that makes it feel as bad as Lord of the Rings, where the only people that play are in the UK, and that's it. But like, the only element in 40K that exists is when you roll a charge and you hope that you're getting a low enough charge that you can't get to base, but you can get with an engagement. And then when you go to actually like move, you like adjust around the outside so that you can get onto objectives and things. Like, that's the most 40K has, and I've been a victim of it. I've been a victim of it in weird ways, though, because I recognize that rule exists where if you can base to base, you have to with as many characters as possible to base to base. And I feel like my opponents are like, well, I need a 8 to get in. Oh, I got a 9, so I'm just going to move all my guys so that they're outside of your base to base as far as possible, so then I can readjust them another 3. And it's like, no, stop it. Cease and desist. Half your squad just got within frickin' 9. Let this happen. Alright, we need chartreuse, the so flat, and we're gonna dry brush. Ah, delicious. Yeah, we're just gonna dry brush the chartreuse on from top to bottom. T to B. It's not high opacity, so I don't have to worry a ton about it. It's mostly just going to push it a little bit. That's all I kind of want out of it. Weirdly, Horus Heresy locally feels the same. Even though, like, I don't think I've gone a day at the local store without somebody from, like, the general club that goes there talking extensively about how much they love Horus Heresy. But I never see any games. I think I saw one group play one game one time. And that was it. I have seen far more Necromunda at the local store than I've seen Horus Heresy. What's good about this being low opacity is you can kind of build it up. Create like faux gradient with it. So one of my buddies bought all of the Death Guard components from one of our other friends who wasn't really playing Death Guard and had a ton of stuff, like, unbuilt. Or unpainted, rather. And I was looking through my stuff, because I do have extra Death Guard stuff as well. You know, Death Guard changed in Kill Team to a different team, so he's going to get an Icon Bearer from me. A bunch of, like, regular units that I don't need anymore. A squad of Poxwalkers that I only had 8 of. I was hoping I had the other 2 laying around somewhere, but I didn't see them. So, at first I was like, oh no, he's not going to have a full squad of Poxwalkers from me. And then I looked into it, and I realized Gellerpox is also not in Kill Team anymore. And Gellerpox has 3 Poxwalkers in it. So he is getting a whole other squad of Poxwalkers from me. He'll have his backline screen. Same small pockets of HH players is almost always just talk about it, sum it up. That's the thing, man. I watched a video of people talk about, like, the new rules, and they talk about how cool the rules are, and then they just, like, talk for hours about all the rules and all the possibilities, and it's like, oh, it's one of those games where there's so much going on. And there's just way too much to talk about and min-max and think about. That maybe it almost creates like a level of paralysis when it comes to actually finalizing something to play on a tabletop with. Do I go the poison weapons? Do I readjust into this other thing that's over here that just happened? It's like, calm down, bro. That was kind of the horror of, like, older Warhammer, where you were kind of waiting on, like, the true professionals at list building to come forward and be like, yeah, you only want 2 squads of one of these people because, like, people can't really see them easily because they're small, And you kind of need something to sit in this area and do this, and it's like the cheapest out, and that's the thing I don't necessarily want to come back to 40k, is people like min-maxing so hard. Because purchasing a squad is actually like purchasing individual models, and then those individual models get individual loadouts, and you have to purchase those loadouts, and it's just like, oh god. The paralysis that people used to feel of like, do I go one extra Guardian here or no? It's like, it's not that hard. I still want to get an Apocalypse scale game in. I haven't heard much from the people who were trying to run Apocalypse scale games before. They apparently ran one every couple months at this one location not far from here. And it was always a multi-day thing for them. And I thought it would be a cool idea. My 1,000 Suns are there. I have it. I can do extreme level of points out of my 1,000 Suns. I could even go the demon detachment from 1,000 Suns and have an extreme amount of demons on the field, too. They haven't said anything about it since they last told me about it like a year ago. So now I'm just out here with Apocalypse level 1,000 Suns and Tzeentch Demons. With nothing to do with them outside of playing 2K games. Which isn't bad. One of our buddies doesn't necessarily want to buy an army to play with us, but between me and two of my friends, we've got maybe like 6 2K armies for a bunch of different factions. And then I have enough stuff here to run like 4,000 Sun lists all at the same time. At most, I might need to look into getting more Zangors. Maybe. Maybe. If I could find a really cheap old 1,000 Sun Combat Patrol box, I'd probably grab it. It would be the last of my Terminators, and it would be another 2 squads of Zangor. And then I would just throw out the I'd throw out the Infernal Master. I could use them as parts though. Infernal Masters, the parts for them are really cool looking. The helmet looks great. The cloak components can be used in so many different ways. That's the only way to do it now, I think. If you really want to go Zangors for that detachment, I think you just go full tilt Zangs. And just jail people from across the map with it. Scout, go first, scout everyone up 6, get everyone into combat. Yes, you're gonna kill 5 Zangors a turn, that's cool. That Zangor squad is a 20-man, have fun. There's 2 more waves of them coming. Figure it out. Even chuck a bunch of them into some, I think they can go in rhinos. You buy that and a metric ton of rhinos. Just scout all those rhinos up. Pretty sure they can go in rhinos. They weren't able to in the index, but they changed it to just Thousand Sun infantry, and Zangor are infantry. I mean, they got rid of our cultists, so they had to put something in those rhinos. I have to buy a whole other battle box to carry around so that I could have the Zangors in it. Because not just that, I need the full tilt Zangor Enlightened. I just do. Means I need 12 of each, which is ridiculous because they only sell them in threes. And it's like $40 for 3. The one thing keeping me sane in all this is thinking of the cost of how much it is to run a worthwhile AdMech list. Like, I look at AdMech players who are doing well in modern tournaments, and then I think of the price tag behind that list, and I'm just like, oh, thank God. I mean, they're out here putting together multi-unit or multi-model units that only come in like a single unit box for like 50, 60 bucks. No. No. The casters are shaman. Shaman are leaders. You can only run 3 leaders at a time. So I already have the 3 shaman. And the shaman can be put into the Zangor squads, making the Zangor squads hit on 3. Also giving them... Like, this is what I hate about... Well, there's a lot to hate about the Zangors in their current state. But what I hate about the Zangor existence right now is everything that's built into it just doesn't kind of, like, work. Right? You can easily see what they kind of wanted you to do. They kind of wanted you to be able to easily cast the -2 to armor on someone, right? They want you to do the -2 to armor. And then they want you to have a shaman inside a Zangor squad. That Zangor squad needs to be a full-size squad because you're going to be spending a lot of their health making your shaman really powerful. Giving him way more attacks and strength, but he has 0 AP and 1 damage. So, you sacrifice Zangor to then increase the power output potential of your shaman. When you're in that detachment for the Zangors, you then sacrifice even more Zangor in order to increase his wound roll by 1. Now you have a shaman who's attacking a ton of times into something with huge strength, plus 1 to wound, and then AP2 on the target as a debuff. But you've given enemies the opportunity to get, anti-fly in on those guys because the disc. No, okay, so the current idea. Okay. So the current idea. You do 3 shaman in the 3 squads of enlightened. If you do, specifically the spear enlightened. If you do that, you don't want to use the shaman abilities. He's just there for his squad ability, which is plus 1 to hit, because Zangor Enlightened, despite their lore being that they can see into the future and are really good at hitting things, they hit on 4s. So you need a shaman to hit on 3s. Because they don't attack a lot, and if they're hitting on 4s, they're not going to do a ton of damage. Those guys do charge mortals, and then they swing. They have, I think it's AP2 damage too, or AP1 damage too. 3 attacks each, hitting on 3s, precision, and lance. So you run them in, it's plus 1 to wound roll. I think strength is like 6, so on average you're wounding people on 2s and tanks on 3s. Well, people on 2s, tanks on 4s. I think is the way that looks. People on 2, tanks on 4s. Unless it's like a crazy tank. Like T12 is kind of your limit. You're wounding that on 5s. There's no way to increase strength past 6 on that squad. So that's for that. You get your 3 squads enlightened with spears, 3 shaman. If you put the shaman in regular Zangor squads, that's how they increase their attacks, potentially get the spell where you minus 1 to armor, which is the highest cost Cabal, so on average you're going to fail it, which means they're useless. You have no way of rolling it again or trying again, so, you know, have fun with that. There's no, like, kill a guy out of the squad and increase the cast roll by 5 or something. That just doesn't happen. So they're in the shaman. Then you have 3 enlightened sorcerers, or exalted sorcerers on disc, which we actually have to finish the one that I made. I gotta get this guy painted up at some point here. My dwarf exalted. It's my last exalted that I need. Those go in the bowman squads. They provide the bowman 18-inch lone op. That's it. That's what they provide them. There's nothing else he provides. 18-inch lone op. Maybe he gives a 4+ invuln. I think he just gives lone op. He does lone op and then he does the slow when he attacks, and that's kind of like his limit. So now you have 3 squads that move 10 that are 18-inch lone op, 3 squads that move 10 that have +1 to hit, and then you do 160 Zangor on field. Well, no, the exalted sorcerer exalteds are also on disc. And I remember I had a spare disc, so when I got the Chaos Dwarf, I gave him a little 1,000 Sun Dagger, 1,000 Sun Staff Head. And there we are. We now have a Chaos... Oh, and the Casting Scrolls. So now I have my 3rd Exalted. Just gotta paint him. And then that's kind of how Zangor played. You just jail with 120 Zangor. You could put... I think the most devastating version of that would be putting either an Infernal Master with the enhancement on it, allowing him to lead a squad of Zangor, into a squad of Zangor. They still only hit on 4s, which sucks, but he gives them sustained 1, which is nice. And he has a good flamethrower. And they give him uppy downy. So he can just kind of uppy downy all over the place and just flamer things down. His whole purpose would basically be that. Or just running at an enemy and attacking, I want to say, 60 times with sustain 1. With strength 5, AP nothing, which I still hate about Zangor. Thousand Suns are supposed to be the army of AP, and they took the AP away from Zangor blades. I get taking it away from chainswords, but if you take it away from like the magic-oriented blades that they're supposed to have, it just doesn't feel good. All right, I need to grab... Well, I have a paper towel. We can wipe this up after. So I have all of my endless spells here, and the update we need to do to them is we are adding pigment powder. So like these guys are going to be Chartreuse pigment powder. I have ones over here that are going to be blue. I think we got purple from the death ones. And then we got, I want to say magenta. Or we'll do maybe like a pink. Yeah, we'll do pink for the elemental ones. No. Void Beasts, yes. Mutalith Vortex. Are you talking about Vortex Beasts? Helldrakes? Yes. Scribe on Disc, no. You can't take the named... You can't take named demons anymore outside of Kairos, and that can only occur in the demon detachment. Now, I attempted a flavor of my demon detachment, I think 2 weekends ago, or last weekend. I've brought this up before. So the demon detachment sucks, in general. They did sort of fix it recently by allowing you to cast your Cabals on the demons. Don't know why it took them this long, but it did. But the way they're supposed to be played, we might actually... I'm going to layer paint this up a little bit. The way they're meant to be played is sort of just like using your 4+ invulnerable and being annoying. You don't need to take sorcerers in it because technically... most of the Rubric Marine squads and like general squads that Thousand Suns take have a Psyker in them, so they can take advantage of the sorcerers being part of it without needing to spend 120 extra points, basically. They'll get their 4+ invulnerables from shooting, which is perfectly fine. But the way I ran it, I had my squad of Zangor Enlightened with spears running up front with 2 big squads of screamers. So what was happening was the Zangor Enlightened with spears next to the screamers were getting a 4+ invulnerable against shooting. So this whole unit is just like rapidly rushing up the field with 14-inch movement on the screamers, 10-inch movement on the spears, and those are kind of my jail units. Let me find Titan buff. Yeah, there we are. I can take the Vortex Beast in the Mutant Detachment. The Vortex Beast originally in the Mutant Detachment was what you were supposed to take because it actually was included in the Mutant benefit. Then they got rid of that because it was too good. So currently, Thousand Suns have 2 detachments that are above 45% win rates, and all the rest are below. Meanwhile... in Death Guard land, I think the last meta Wednesday thing that came out showed that Death Guard have 1 detachment that's under 40% win rate. The rest are 50 to 60. Which was where the Thousand Suns detachments were before they got nerfed. So kept Death Guard at above an average of 50. Nerfed Thousand Suns into the point of having like 45s and like 150, I think. Ugh. Gross. Although people are tinkering a little bit with the old Grotmus detachment, because there's some play there that people didn't expect. But the old system, though, for the mutant detachment was that the Chaos Spawn and the Vortex Beasts both had access to the detachment roll, which was to take D3 mortals, and you would increase your wound roll by 1 if you were attacking, or you would decrease the enemy wound roll by 1 if they were attacking. So there was this fun, weird level of, like, min-maxing damage potentials. And being like, oh, well, at most your las cannon might do, like, 5 damage to me. But if I lower your chance to wound down to a 4 with it, it being a 4 feels maybe a little bit better, especially because I can feel no pain the mortals that I had to take. I'd rather chance myself at, like, 1 mortal that maybe I feel no pain that ends up with you rolling a 3 to wound on a las cannon. And then I can laugh on into the night. And it was kind of the same way with the Chaos Spawn, but then they were like, no, just Zangors. Which means out of a 6-man squad of Enlightened, on average I'm losing 1 per turn that I need to do this. If I want to, you know, up my wound roll by 1 when I'm shooting at you with bows. On a 4 on average if I'm sticking with the lone op function. Can't say I'm too happy with that. Or maybe in melee, I give my my 20-man squad of Zangor. I turned it into a potentially 18-man squad of Zangor and get +1 to wound. At least those squads I can revive with command points. I think it's D3 plus 3 Zangs or something. D3 plus 1. Zangors, the Necrons of Chaos. There we go. A lot of my big issues with Thousand Suns, though, is that, like, I kind of don't want to play them the way they're supposed to be played right now. The 2 times I have lifted the cup, though, and been like, you know what, let's actually play them the way they're supposed to be played. It's felt, like, strong. Like, I've actually felt like, oh, I could do work. I could do something with this. 2 squads of 10 Terminators with a Terminator Sork Lord backed by an on-foot Demon Prince giving them -1 to hit so that they have -1 to hit, -1 to wound at all times. Just walk them out onto objectives. Yeah, have fun with that. I'm holding that objective for at least 2 turns. I'm gonna have so much crap up in your face that you're gonna have to deal with. Because Mutalisks were kind of like the other way to go hold objectives. They're also supposed to be hyper durable. They're not. They're nowhere near as durable right now as Terminators with a Demon Prince behind them. They have way less attacks, too. I just remember I put in so much work to get the other two Mutalith Vortex Beasts that I have. I was interested in them. They seemed really fun. They just never perform well enough that I'm happy with them when I use them. I might need to get my blue out and finish this eye up as well. I remember most of my Zangor have had their armor updated when I did my whole Thousand Suns visual aesthetic update. Probably worth finishing this one up. Yeah, I gotta do it to this too. Full update time. Anyone doing any fun like holiday things for like playing tabletop? Or just in general? Some energy coming out this way. So, you're saying EC should have a crab unit. The leaks with the Defiler showed that there are Slaanesh components on it. Now, that's got my hopes up a little bit, because that's like the ultimate crab unit. But I mean, you can Slaanesh mark a Defiler in Chaos Space Marine. So like, on one hand, I'm like, oh, we're getting a new tank. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, it's probably just for Chaos Space Marines. Which sucks, because like that'd be awesome. Friggin' advance and charge on a on a Defiler? Are you kidding me? Advance shoot and charge? I mean, they're hard as hell to maneuver as it is, but being able to like toss an extra like 3 or 4 inches onto that, I think on average 8 that they get normally, it's not bad. I think I know who you're talking about. Doesn't he play Admech and he uses like he was using like crab shells and hermit crab, I think, right? And like a horseshoe crab. Pretty sure he was playing Admech. Cuz he did that tank, the walker tank, the quad walker. Like it's the tank, but it has like a crab shell over top of it. I think he converted most of his AdMech to be like crustacean AdMech. Which is pretty cool theming. Oh yeah, he probably has a lobster one. Like, if you don't nautical theme that army completely out and have SpongeBob SquarePants in there somewhere, I don't know what to tell you. Bikini Bottom, rise up. Oh, he was updating the tank kits? I could see that. Some of those, like... Some of the tank kits I've seen that have come out are really cool. Like, the ones that feel almost like I could walk outside right now and there'd be one, like, right there. Like, my neighbor would be building one in his backyard. Just being like, hey, I'm getting these junk pieces together to make a mech. I can give you the engine schematics if you want to build your own. Those look so cool. They look like something straight out of Hawken. I miss Hawken. I hate when I get good at something and then it's like, this is over, everyone. Did that with Gigantic, did that with Hawken. I'm almost afraid to get good at other games that are multiplayer for fear that they will fall apart. No, this Kimmerix guy, he's good at this. Cancel everything, pack it up. That's why on the podcast yesterday when MVG was like, yo, we playing Marathon when it drops? Part of me's like, I didn't know you hated that game that much. Okay. I'll kill Marathon for you. I'll get so good at it that everyone wants to quit. I was ridiculous at Hawken. I was played the super lights. I knew all the maps in and out. The moment someone was like, ah, I got him, I'd be gone instantly. No way they're catching me. fucking weirdly was one of those games that I played where someone from my far past, my before 4 time, like randomly runs into me and is like, what the hell? I haven't talked to you in years. If you could go back and one of your like fully built factions or things, if you could go, oh, I want to do it differently, I want to like theme it differently, I want to add something in from the outside, I want to push it differently, what would you, which army would it be? Like, what would you add to it? For me, honestly, I don't know. I'd like to say I would redo my Thousand Suns more with like the ghosts from AOS, but I feel like that's just overdone at this point. Everyone kind of combines ghost factions and stuff, like the death factions, with Thousand Suns to give them like side detail and interesting concepts. One of the best Magnus models I ever saw had one of the endless spells, the giant serpent thing that eats the other endless spells. He had that thing wrapped around him. It was really cool looking. I might repaint theme them. I mean, I hard leaned into the whole like Egyptian desert thing with them. I probably would have chose something a little more, I don't know, like a little out there for them. Would have redid the bases as like clean porcelain tiling. Did all their armor as like almost white. Endless spells. Disciples of Tzeentch variety. Simulacrum's actually not bad. As a spell, the Simulacrum's pretty cool. Blacklight check. I feel like I would do if I did Eldari, I would Escaflowne my Eldari. Like they would just be Escaflowne. Remember that War Games Live video? Like he was doing a tournament and then one of the people that came on had a really cool sounding list, so he brought him on. He was like, all right, this is gonna be good. And then the guy came over and every model he had in his army was just a Gundam model that was glued to a stand, and they were all representing Great Unclean Ones or something. It was so stupid. The judge came over halfway through the game and was like, dude, you can't come back doing this. Like, we can't let you back into this tournament next time if you're gonna do this again. Alright, let's keep going. Most of the rest of it's just pigment. We just gotta pick the right pigment. I think pink is more time. These guys are kind of more orange. think I have a coral or an orange I can use. Yeah, there we go. I also kind of want to touch up the skull. Because the top of it doesn't feel close enough to the chartreuse. I'll just dry brush some chartreuse back into it. Extra Flonase is how you cause a nosebleed, but Escaflowne is like a almost high fantasy Gundam in a way. Maybe dark fantasy Gundam. Because like the really big powerful mechs that they use are all like blood powered. Like you get plugged into it like it's heart. But yeah, Extra Flonase. I've done that once. It was a 20-minute nosebleed. Quite impressive. Debating going to the hospital. I'm at the point where I just... If I have a stuffy or runny nose because of like weather or whatever, I just tank it. I have to, because if I use Flonase, it like clears my nostrils up for like a minute. Like it doesn't do it any longer than that. I think we're gonna get a little bit more dry brush detail into this. Specifically high angle. We're gonna try to just hit the edges a little bit. Feels a little better. The question is, do I want to kind of do that with this one too? Giant teeth monster. bit, I think. Only kind of close to the front. We're not going to go too far back with it. The one person that was building the lizard people that I was trying to play against occasionally in AOS. This is the endless spell type he wanted to use. These are strong. I get that everyone likes the undead ones, or the purple sun ones, and like the grave tide. Those are like generally really good. This guy is strong as hell. Charge mortals and all that. Like he just devastates. If I know an enemy is going to try to charge in on one of my allied squads, I'll summon this like behind them. And be like, alright, go for it. I'll lose some Zangors. I don't care. You're going to get eaten alive. I should probably grab my my standing rack so I can move them over to it as I finish. What are you talking about for Thousand Suns? For this? Technically, you can just, like, same size base. There it is. But yeah, I wouldn't. This is probably out of all of the like general spells, or even like the other spells that I've seen from AOS, this is my favorite one. It's just so cool looking. Like, I love the purple sun, but like, God, just hollowed out flaming mouth. Powder some stuff in here. Yeah, Helldrakes suck. Sort of. Like, I won't disagree if somebody, like, professional goes like, yeah, never use Helldrakes, they suck. I see them as opportunities to do interesting things that are rare, which is probably why they suck. They're not, like, all around. So, Games Workshop didn't clarify well enough how vehicles like Helldrakes should work, I think. I've had too many people talk to me about it where they don't seem to understand it either, but they kind of go with what's been said at tournaments. I can kind of show you. I think I've shown people this before, but we can go over it if you want. Stats-wise, they're not great. They're a bit expensive in points. They're not that durable. You don't want to use them as aircraft because what most people have found out in the past, I guess, with the game is that really good players know how to, like, screw aircraft over, right? Like, you'll bring an aircraft in off a table edge You'll be like, here we go, and then they'll move units into position to force your aircraft to leave the game. Like, that's how bad all aircraft are in aircraft mode. It became so common in the last edition that people got really good. Like how screening works. People got really good at figuring out where to put like models to prevent aircraft from staying in for a turn. So going into hover mode is a good idea. Absolutely. Hover mode is pretty poggers. But the things that the thing that kind of causes a problem with people with Helldrakes, and the thing that I think would make them technically good. So the way the rule works for tanks that are like this is that the distance measured from the hull to the ground creates a sort of field. Let me see if I can pull this back for you guys. Creates a sort of field that's kind of like a footprint, right? That's underneath here of this area. If you're an enemy and you're standing under here, you're in base to base. Like, that's just it. It doesn't clarify that that only matters in melee. So if you're an enemy and you're trying to maneuver, you have to sort of stay out of an inch of the armor, making this one of the largest move blocking units in the entire game. That, like, outside of like that giant Necron structure, this is a move blocking unit. That's what this is. Because the way they're supposed to be built makes the wings do this. Now that also causes a problem because these are very adjustable. So what people will do with them is they won't put these on the way they are on mine, which the horseshoe crab approach is how it's supposed to work. Instead, they'll do like one kind of in and forward and then one back. So it looks sort of like a TIE fighter. But that's not how they're supposed to be built. So since there's no like universal snap-in way to build this, you can kind of not make them right? Like, it's so much easier just to be like, yeah, this is a person. Like, this is the base. And then when you got tanks like impulsors and stuff, like, they're there and they're just the shape and that's it. This being able to do so much, not great. But from my perspective, right, if I were to, let's say, if I use them, I would use them in a Soulforged list. It's not the best unit in Soulforged, but Soulforged has the ability to go, all right, well, this is a demon engine. It can now go through all walls as though they're not there. That's one command point. So this now has 20-inch movement and can just go through walls. So in certain maps, if there's enough enemies on a front line that I'm not that worried about going into a T, I think, 9 vehicle, I send this up and I put it into multi-charge combat with as much as possible because, you know, squad here is now in combat. Vehicle here now in combat. So I can just multi-charge stuff and hold it all in place. It's a jailing vehicle that isn't that strong. So it's up in the air. I think that there's play in them. I think there's ways to use it where it's good. But because of how maps are, because of how scoring is, it's just not, it's not great. And I feel like the last couple times I've used them, you always run that risk of charging up the field. It, like, I would say it works into, like, Imperial Guard, right? Like, you know, the new lists that are just like, oh, you have hundreds of people on the field. It's great. It's like, all right, cool. I go first. This guy's moved to 20 inches up the field. He's going to charge 6 of your squads and hold them all in place for a turn. Like, why not? Why not? 100 and something points, send it across the field, hold a bunch of squads in place. He'll kill like 5 people, maybe. If you run into a big armored unit that has fly, he'll kill it. That's the cool thing about this. Into flying units, this is like 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, deving on 2s, like anti-fly 2 dev wounds. And I think it's like 2 damage per. That's pretty good. Like, he's in with a shot at taking most Primarchs down to, like, 1 wound left. Like, the flying Chaosy Primarchs. But in general, yeah, they suck. Fun fact, Emperor's Children dropped, right? Emperor's Children came out, and in the Codex, which I could go grab and show you, Heldrake's had a 2+ armor save. That would have been insanely good. That would have been well worth the points. A 2+ save, 100 and something like 40-point model, demon engine that I think in rapid evisceration could go through walls. I think that has the ability to go through walls. It's either that or it's like uppy downy on the table edge. Maybe? Oh no, it's the new one. That's right. The new detachment lets Heldrakes go through walls in Emperor's Children. But, like, they already lost their 2+ save. So, not that cool. They still get advance and charge, though. Which, 20-inch move plus advance going through walls. Pile drive into enemy units. I think there's something there, right? Like, I think it's Skari. I don't know how familiar you are with the 40k tournament scene. But Skari, for a while, I want to say... It was either Skari or someone else who was running the Drakari aircraft, and the whole purpose of it was to be able to kill a lone op unit. You're not getting away from a Heldrake in Emperor's Children. If it can go through a wall, you're not getting away from it. I'm going to find your unit and kill it. You're going to have to build a wall of bodies to keep me from getting to it. But if you have, like, a key unit that's like, yeah, this unit is the thing that creates my burrows for my Tyranid. The moment they're on the field, my turn, I'm on them. I am inside of those characters. But yeah, other than that, they do suck. They're interesting, though, because they are different. Per army, they are different. They're kind of like Hellbrutes in that way. And I think Helldrakes might be the most universal. Are Helldrakes in Death Guard? I don't think. If Helldrakes aren't in Death Guard, then they're on... I think they're on even field with Hellbrutes in terms of how many places they are right now. Let's search the high seas. Waha! And Death Guard. Yeah, they have the Land Raider, the Predator spawn, but normally it would say like Chaos Helldrake. They've got the Hellbrute. Yep. So the Helldrakes and Hellbrutes are tied for, like, most places. Since Hellbrutes are out for Emperor's Children and Helldrakes are out for Death Guard. I think there should be World Eaters. Should be a World Eaters Helldrake. I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. This one gets Whoa, this one gets nothing special. It comes with Airborne Predator, which they all have. Maybe it just has extra attacks? Oh, it gives the Hades autocannon rapid fire 4. Holy crap. And then whatever Blessings of Corn it can get. Reroll charge rolls. Yo, you can give a Helldrake fight on death and with a Blessing of Corn. You can give it a fight on death. You can give it sustained 1. You can give it lethal. Dude, that's crazy. And then whatever benefits you can get. What's the, I think it's Gore Track. Disembark. It's just Disembark. That doesn't help. That's cool, though. Alright, let's keep going. Let's do the Arcane. Pigment powder. That's probably going to be the big thing, I guess, in 11th. Redefining aircraft. They might actually... What would be the world where they decide that all aircraft should have some element of hover or some ability to just stay on the map? Like, if they could redefine how aircraft and hover works... I could see a world where Helldrakes are fun to use. I have 2 of them, for God's sakes. I want to use at least one at any given time. I might have to box them up before the next time I go over to my friend's house, because I kind of want to, like, give them tries. I want to push them a little bit. Because there are missions that they can do. Not a lot, but there are missions they can do. Behind enemy lines is pretty good for them to just snag early. Engage on all fronts, kind of the same thing. You just send them where they need to go. We actually have to finish painting them. We don't have to, but we kind of need to. I didn't finish repainting their underbellies. And I kind of want to buy those tiny green LEDs. The little ones that you put like a watch battery in and then it's a little green LED. I want to put them on top of the flight stand thing for this model so that you can put it inside the model. Because there's a lot of gaps in the Helldrake model that light can come out of, and that would look cool as hell. Some might even say cool as Helldrake. I'll see myself out. For what? The spells? 100%. If you could redo some of these spells in clear resin, that'd be fantastic. I like this though. I actually did chrome paint on the mirror. So you can kind of see like the reflection of stuff coming up to it. It's nice. I'm surprised, actually, that Games Workshop hasn't done more with the clear. They did that one squad in Lord of the Rings. They did one of those ghost squads in clear resin. Or clear plastic. Maybe it's just too brittle. Because they used to, man. Like, what was it? Oh, dude. You don't have... I'll show you stuff. I'll show you things. Let me just finish out this blue real quick. And I'll show you something. Something you won't like. Because, yeah, you don't have to clear resin them at all. If you were, it would be cool to clear resin the parts that I painted green. That way you could do like an interior light that then kind of comes out of it, maybe? Sort of activating the clear plastic. Get this other mirror done. A lot of dual casting in the Arcane spellbook. One of the main prints that people do, which you could technically do some really cool 3D printing with, is actually an alternative stand for these. But as you can see, the jet engines are fully open. Part of the underparts here for like the horseshoe crab layered armor also kind of goes to nothing. If you can see inside that neck area there, you can probably see it best actually from the back engine. If I can get the light in there. You see those like hits of light? Yeah, those are all hollow parts. That's the neck you're seeing from there. So the area around the neck is also hollow. The area around the arms are also hollow. So if you just do... let go. Please. If you just do an LED on the top of this, and then pop it up into here, the entire inside of this thing will just glow. And so you'll have light coming out of the front, under the parts of the armor, and out of the exhausts. All from one LED. And then the way people sometimes build these in order to like look cool, they'll 3D print what looks like flame, right? Like, because they have flamethrowers in their mouths usually. Mine have autocannons, but you can just call whatever you want. Honestly, at the beginning of a game, they look very similar. You glue how this flight stand works is instead of doing this mouth, you glue in the flight stand. The flight stand creates a string of fire coming out of it that then becomes a giant cloud of smoke. And then that's how you put it on the base. You could print that clear. And then you could put like a red or yellow LED inside of it. That way you paint the bottom like black, like it's a black smoke cloud. And then from the mouth, you have the yellow LED that you then tint the plastic so that it changes to orange the further down it goes. And then that's what you have. Like, you just have a low opacity orange paint and then a clear plastic up top with the yellow LED. Or you could just do a white LED and then do the yellow to orange yourself. My favorite base I've ever seen on a Helldrake, though, someone took the base, they built up a destroyed section of a building using Games Workshop terrain, and then they put the Helldrake on top of it with its like hind feet, like holding it. The wings were straight up in the air, and then the head was facing downward with fire coming out of it. But that's the kind of situation where it looks really cool, but because your wings are now straight up in the air, they don't block anyone because they're not part of the hull, they're not close enough to the ground. Technically that should be an unusable model, but it's not. Were the chains death? Or were the chains... Where's my other arcane, my other time stuff? Or is time... No, time wasn't part of arcane. Are the chains part of the time? I need to look up endless spells. I want to make sure which ones go where. Endless spells. I think these are in the General's Handbook. Oh no, other endless spells. Purple Sun, Soul Snare. So those are the shackles. What am I missing? Prismatic Palisade, Umbral Spell Portal, and the Geminis of Ul. We did those. Forbidden Power. Horrorghast, the Soul Seeker. Those are the ones I don't have. Quicksilver Swords. Oh, where's the swords? Oh, there they are. These are cool. These avoid Feel No Pains. These basically just go straight to your health bar. You can't stop them. I was thinking of maining this spell group. The gears don't help me, but this you kind of put on the field, right? It can only move in a straight line based on the blade. And it can only move forward and backward on that line. And then anything it passes through takes damage. It's pretty fun. But these, because of how many people were playing Soul Blight in this area, and just relying entirely on their ward saves to absolutely avoid all damage I do to them, I was like, alright. I might bring the Quicksilvers in. Because the Quicksilvers straight up would just, like, run at a person and be like, no ward saves, whole squad dead. Because these actually attack a lot. But I think the COG rules are mostly for armies that need better movement to get into combat. That is not my army. I don't want to be up where you are. I don't care enough to be up where you are. Which is fine. I think you can only summon one endless spell a turn anyway. If I'm not mistaken. I might be. It's been a while, chat. I think the only way you can get two is if you summon one in your turn. Which, if you're going to summon an endless spell in your turn, you kind of need to have it be a buff. It needs to be able to go down somewhere. Like, that's what this would be. It would land in an area and then just do its buff. And that's it. That's all it has to do. But if you want to attack something, you pay what's ostensibly a command point to bring this in like, the enemy turn. That way, in your turn, it can move. Because it can't move otherwise. I kind of wish 40k powers were like this, but I also kind of don't. Although, kill team powers are kind of like this for Psychic. Like, if you play Chaos Cults, you put down a token. That token represents the general area around a Psychic ability. That way you can have, like, area effects that play on the field. I do think it would be cool if there was more in 40k that did that outside of, like, let's say, burrowing holes or the deployment markers that GSC gets, or the, what is it? The Deep Strike Beacon that the Terminators get on the Space Marine side. Like, if it was just more than just like, oh yeah, this is Rapid Ingress Point. If it was actually something like, I cast on this spot, this bonus, all of my allied units within 6 of this 32-inch base I've now put down have, like, +1 to their armor saves or something. Like, if it was that, that would be pretty cool. No, screw fortifications. Like, genuinely screw fortifications. Just give me something like this, where you have a 32 base, and you're like, alright, this is down now. Every ally within 6 of it will be able to move an extra 2 inches when they start to move or something. Just something dumb. Something fun like that. Now it's an object that either exists on the field as a visual representation of what it can do. You can maybe kill it from ranged. You can maybe move near it and have it destroy itself. I don't know. Dude, I miss... The one spell I do miss was the ever narrative Touch of Chaos. I think that was 5th edition. I had my Defilers by then, so that was either 4th or 5th. I can't remember when Defilers came out. Well, came out in their like regular version that they have right now. Touch of Chaos was the greatest spell of all time. Are you in melee range? Take a spell check.
Poggers.
Did you pass the spell check? It's a pretty high number. Cool. What's the toughness of your enemy? Is it a 4? Well, all you need to do is roll 4 more. And the first stage is done of this stupid little spell. Does the enemy have a invulnerable save? Take it now. If not, pick enemy up. Turn into Chaos Spawn. What's up, Capelite? Is the enemy's toughness more than 6? Well, a roll of 6 is a crit. So, a roll of 6 will always work against all toughnesses above and beyond 6. But invulnerable saves still work. I one-tapped a Great Unclean One with that spell. I had to roll like 2 6s in a row, and then he had to fail like a 4-up invuln. And he did. No. Hey, what you up to, Capelite? Not to be confused with Kappa Diet. Or Kappa Zero Sugar. I know in AOS they have the one where you have a character that can, I think, cast 2 spells. You have a character that can cast 2 spells, and he can. If you cast one, you're fine. If you cast the second one and you fail it, you become a Chaos Spawn. That's why mortals suck. Mortals are so bad in Disciples of Tzeentch. Guess your name, is it Steve? My first guess will always be Steve. Casper? Nice. Named for the aforementioned friendly ghost? Or with alternative origins? No. However, I do watch a lot of streamers that speak Swedish. I don't know what that is. I don't know why I do that. I just do. I watch Anomaly. I think Nidus. I think Nidus is Swedish. Are you from Swedish? Or do you know Swedish and are from Sweden? I do watch a bunch of Swedish streamers now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, thanks for the follow. Which I didn't get the notification for in my headphones. Okay. Goodbye. I feel they needed me to speak Swedish. Sag. I thought I put my my information or Twitch hashtags as English. I do like the Gravetide. This is actually one of the cooler death ones. I know people prefer Shyish, but Gravetide kind of pog. This is the actual visual representation from the Cursed City function. The thing from, it's like one of the 3 modes you can play, where there's this big creature chasing you while you're trying to run through the city streets. This is it. They use a tiny cardboard token to represent it, but this is what you're running from. This thing's pretty devastating, too. It has move over mortals. actually looks a lot better. The metallic shifter over top of the paint, and then the purple not actually shifting with it anymore. Looks pretty cool. I like it. Oh, damn, corn. Thanks, Twitch playlist. Stumbled into a person on social media who likes reposting in a mocking fashion, which is always fun for me. The people who do short form media as like this is a life hack situation where they'll show you something you can do to, like, you know, lock your cabinets more effectively or something. But like the video is always just the dumbest thing. Like, that doesn't actually work at all. Like the one of like, how do you get people to stop stealing your bike? And he puts a ring around the handle and the brake so it squeezes the brake to full. And then he puts a lock on the ring, but it's just like a padlock that's now hanging off of a ring that someone can easily just pull off of the bike handle. Oh. We're done as a species, right? Like, it's over. Is there somewhere we're supposed to go to, like, put in our high score or something? Might switch our playlist up. Been really wanting to listen to Khan again. I feel like I may have overplayed my 90s and early 2000s punk. Oh, hell yeah. 50 songs in this playlist? Let's go. Only for the Twitch crowd. Still not 100% sold on what we're going to do with the Raptors. I kind of want to try something a little bit more with the leaders base. Alright, spells updated. Now to assess the Raptors. Because I still don't know what I want to do with them. We got to think of what color we want as like a weapon overview, like a weapon component. Like how chainswords have like a box casing on them. I don't want it to be black because it's so close to the blue on the armor and the silver and gunmetal on all the other components. It's got to be a different color. We're using reds, we're using greens. I was debating teal, but I don't like the teal. I was thinking orange, but we got red on the wire. That's kind of close to the orange because we're using Wild Rider, which Wild Rider red is basically like right next to orange. And then we have to figure out their basing, which I think I have an idea for. I think we go a little crazy with the crackle paste. Like, rather than doing what I normally do with the crackle paste, where I just try to put a thin layer on, we're going to shape it. We're going to make it big. We're going to shape it. I'm going to put some pockets in it where I could fill it with my resin paint. It's not resin. It's resin-like. So I could fill into it with the resin-like stuff. I'm going to paint a color under it and then mix the resin-like with a shifter paint. That way the resin-like has an oil sheen to it. And then we just dump it in as a pool somewhere. I think that would be a good potential. Is there something I want to do though? Otherwise, do we want to do bone components on the armor? Do we want to do like leather strappings differently? This is one of those situations where I don't like them so much that my brain's going, just buy the box when it comes out. Just try to snag a box. And then build the squad. And don't build the jump pack lord. Because the jump pack lord's fine. I don't know why I like the jump pack lord more than I like the people with this color scheme. I think it's just because of the red. He has so much red in him. I think I need to get Thondia. The light brown. Because the leather straps are the dark brown right now, and I think I need to do a highlight brown on it. Or Death Claw or whatever I got. Yeah, we'll do Death Claw. We're probably also going to need gunmetal for some detail work. I'm gonna look at the color wheel. God, this sucks, because I'm already the trifecta here. I've got the dark blue, I've got the red orange, and then I've got the green. This is already the triplet. So what the hell do I paint the weapons? Do we find a different red? God, I don't know, man. Let's try to do some of the fixative gunmetals. We also gotta find a decently dark gray, I think, or have I already done that? Oh. Still don't know about the weapons. Maybe it's fine to paint the weapons red. I mean, no, because there's wires on the weapons. This is an epic version of Mary Jane? Jesus. There are some horns on this we need to do. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, you have to be careful with the vinyl stencils. I still have mine from when I did my GSC. I always did it like, I'd put it on, I'd spray, and then I'd slowly peel off and then just put them right back on the paper. They don't re-stick easily, so a lot of the times I would just have my glove on my hand. I would hold it to the surface. And just do it that way. But yeah, it's never amazing. Alright, let me find Skeletal Horde. I need a section in my paints. We actually might use this. I need a section in my paints of like my go-tos. I feel like every time I want to do any kind of bone color, it takes me like 20 minutes to find the Skeletal Horde speed paint. No. Doesn't help that I've got like 10 Argo Stoons. Maybe Word Bearer. It's not as bright. The red that's on like the piping for my guys started as Word Bearer, but then I did like 3 brighter reds above it. So Word Bearer might actually be okay. God damn it, where are you, skeletal horde? Also need Warplock Bronze, there that is. Got it. Oh my god, skeletal horde. question is, do I want to do bone color on like some of the more detail elements, like the spikes on the arms and the sides of the ankles? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They don't look separate. I mean, this one kind of does. The leg ones don't. sure if I hit all of like the extra components with the metallic. Cleaning off the sticky? Oh, you mean the from your vinyl stuff? Yeah, you needed more info. I thought you had done something uncouth to your models. Adhesive tends to fall apart under the might of isopropylene alcohol, but if you're going to varnish it anyway, maybe it won't be that bad, but I don't know. Because if it is sticky and then you varnish it, it'll be like a different general texture. I'd go a light percentage alcohol. Like isopropyl alcohol. Or isopropyl. put it on like a soft cloth and go over the surface. Yeah, I would try the alcohol. But go easy on it. Last thing you would want is for it to reactivate the paint underneath and then just push it aside. Got gemstone on them. Forgot that I gotta grab the silver and the red again. Or silver and green? I think I did. I think I was doing red. No, I was doing green. Okay. Dude, man, stencil stuff. When you get big enough, stencil work is like, do it. Like, just do it. You have a big enough model, stencils. 100%. Like, if I was working on, like, Bane Blades and stuff, I'd be looking around at really cool stencils to apply to them. Like, if someone hands me a Thunderhawk, 100%. I'm looking through stencils. The running joke, I guess, among some of the Necron players locally, they've had a multiple people paint their monoliths. And a few of them are at like 2, and they're thinking of a third one. Oh, dude, I would consume a monolith. I would make that thing look absolutely insane. So much flat surface. I'd get like a sort of like a microchip stencil. Or block bronze. Kind of hoping we'd see something about the Raptors by now. I feel like GW's been quieter than most of this year, but I mean, I guess it's holiday season. Alright, let's try on this small thing. I don't know, man. Did not. Dude, X's back-end messaging is just so garbage. It doesn't let me know when I have requests. So I just have like this ocean of requests that I don't even see. It's so weird. Time is at 4:08. Ugh. I'm not sold on the red. Like, took a step back, took a quick walk. Not sold on the red for weapons. God, I hate this. Ugh. Decided to comment on someone's comment on the podcast I did, where I brought up the fact that indie was specifically independent, which meant as a company, it's like they publish and they develop all by themselves. And then this person goes, by that logic, Nintendo is also an indie. And I went, forgot. I needed to have my internet-based spell check on. Also that they don't publish other people's games themselves. To which he responded that that's Capcom, which Capcom has published other people's games, so cool example, I guess. And Sega, which Sega has also published other people's games, which is a cool example, I guess. God, I keep forgetting I just shouldn't really care about posting stuff at all online. Like, ever. There's just no reason. No reason at all. Because not only did he write a paragraph, he then under it did TLDR and wrote another paragraph. Immediately negating the TLDR tag. Immediately negating it. Good times. Good times. I'm waiting for the other one I commented on to come back too. I brought up that the new Monster Hunter was missing a ton of the stuff that Worlds had, which is why people didn't like it as much, because when you go from something filled with content to something that has less content, it just doesn't feel as good. And this person liked to remind me that you start at square one, which means it's separate, which means you shouldn't compare it, which completely misses my point of what sequelitis is. Because sequelitis is a real thing, where a game company releases a game, then releases 30 DLCs and free updates for it that massively fleshes out the game, and then they release the second one, and the second one feels like where the first one started at the beginning, at which point your brain goes, well, do I wait? Do I buy it later so I can get all the stuff that should be coming to it eventually? It's a psychological problem called sequelitis. And they completely missed the point on that, which I decided to correct them on, like an idiot on the internet. So we'll see if they, you know, ball that up and try and figure out how to get around what I said. You know, it's fine. It's good. It's good. Well, it's 4 o'clock. Let me get the bone tone down. Let me get the gemstoning done. I think we'll get the gemstoning done. We'll actually use silver. Like, out of everything from that guy's statement that was wrong, the fact that he did a paragraph and then did a TLDR and followed it with a paragraph. Like, holy God. How does one mark themselves so fervently as missing the point? Oh, this is already Chrome. cravings earlier this week. Went to the dollar store. Bought a white cheese salsa. And like the super cheap corn nachos. That's pretty brutal. If I had to describe my life, it would be that every day is a struggle to not buy the giant bags of pizza rolls. Because in my head, it's like, oh, if I have pizza rolls, I'll just eat like maybe like 3 for a snack or something. And the next thing you know, the bag is half empty. Because you eat one and you're like, that'll fill me up. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, why am I more hungry? What did they remove from my system to make me feel like I'm starving? We don't really have, like, all the kind of thankfully, all the local grocery stores, cinnamon rolls suck. But I did find cinnamon babka at a local store near me that is very equivalent to how Cinnabons taste. Like that excessive cinnamon sugar filling. Yeah. I feel like I should be rewarded every time I walk down the international aisle and don't grab a babka. I'm kind of happy the local grocery store near me separates the foods the way they do. Because, like, all the absolutely garbage food is down one specific frozen aisle, right? Like, that's where all the, like, pizzas, the bags of, like, fried chicken tenders, and, like, just all the worst frozen foods, one aisle. And then kind of decent, like, frozen bagged meals that are usually just, like, a bunch of vegetables and then a meat. The frozen veg you can make, that's all one aisle. It's great. kind of an idea. Thinking of putting typhus corrosion. I know I want to put it on the end of this, the melt-a-gun. That's classic, making the end of a melt-a-gun crusty. That fire burn. But what if we do the bottom of the jets? Specifically the outside of it. Like just... I don't know. I kind of like the pristine chrome. There's a chance we make all the weapons black. Because I can't think of anything else. I'm sitting here thinking, like, purple? No. Outside of that, it's down to basing. And like I was saying, I think the reality... And I'm going to try it with this guy. Is rather than going for the flat crackle paste like we do pretty much all the time, we kind of like... let it get 3D. See what happens. I kind of want to see how this dries, and I know it's going to take forever to dry. And then we might get back in here and apply the resin-like pour stuff that I've got to try to, like, create little pools. YouTube dropping ads? I told them I would do manual. I have the stuff on, but then it's like, man, I guess they're just changing it over to be a little bit closer to how Twitch does it, where they force it into anything, even if you go manual. YouTube's doing fun stuff, man. The amount of artists I follow who are, like, English is their second language, right? And they do, like, time lapses of their artwork, but they know that, like, English-speaking people are probably their more active audience. So they do all their videos in English, and then, like, a friend of theirs will contact them after and be like, yo, why did you do the subtitles? Why did you write that in the subtitles? And they're like, what are you talking about? And the subtitles in their own home language would be, like, completely wrong. And there's this general feeling of, like, YouTube acting like they deserve a pat on the back for automating that stuff, and then it's just all wrong all the time. Alright, we're gonna see how that dries. I'll probably call it, and I'll get something to eat for dinner. Get something put together. We are back on it with the Raptors, but it is holiday season. Next couple days, I'm probably going to be pretty, like, focused in on some stuff. I might off-stream paint, or there's a chance. There are chances that I might stream a couple things. Because, again, I do still have projects I got to do. I got to try to paint the underbellies of my my Helldrakes. I also have been debating taking these, ripping their mid-waists off, or like cutting them at the waist, and then ripping the tails off these bases. I have a handful of kind of converted flawless blades that I really don't like, that I think I might put on top of the tails, and then do a little bit of like a paint job to try to like match things, like update and match. That way I can maybe start using my flawless blades more and not feel like an asshole. Because my flawless blades are just normal infractors with 2 swords and a deflector shield on their chest. And I think a different shoulder pad that I got from the Myrmidons, or the Myrmidons. There was a lot of conversion potential that I could have done had I had these alongside the other stuff I was trying to convert. Could have put the masks on them with the hair. Could have done a lot more to have them stand out, but didn't do it. But yeah, we're not using these for anything else. So I might try to convert. Maybe. I only have 5 and I need 6. Not really interested in getting more tails. Ugh. Either way. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Hopefully you have an okay holiday at the very least. I'm going to try to get a couple other things done off stream. Should be fun. Till next time, guys. Later.